district mission is to support each student's needs by providing the opportunities, experiences, and educational tools for their journey. Our district vision is that all students will be communicators, contributors, critical thinkers, and collaborators empowering each for the life ahead. And as a board, we adhere to our norms, which includes our social contract, which is that we, 1, be respectful, 2, practice active listening, 3, model our district core teams, 4, make data-driven decisions, 5, focus on the whole district, 6, act with positive intent, and 7, we govern, not manage, we steer, not grow. So we'll move right into item number 2, which is public comments. Right now I have one, so if anyone else is here for a public comment, please fill out a public comment board card, and Colleen Lee, you are up first.
Happy New Year to members. Just a couple quick updates on my side. I wanted to say, obviously, as demolition is underway, there's a lot of questions coming up about the soil. I know the air quality testing, we appreciate very much having that. It's been very helpful. There's questions about testing of the soil and like how much of it would be removed, and obviously with it being an old building and there's not a requirement for you to have pre-removed lead that could have been in the paint, but we're worried about it for soil and water purposes, so just something to put on your radar. I had 3 things I wanted to say. I'm looking forward to, I noticed that Good for the Order has been removed, and I believe that's hopefully a temporary thing, but I'm looking forward to that being reinstated soon so that as community members we can hear from all of you and your updates that you have for us. And then the last thing is, I know there's a lot of financials that are on the agenda today, so I'm not sure how and when that will be updated, but I am still curious on the total costs related to the Roosevelt project itself, which maybe has to be FOIA or something, or however that needs to be updated, but I am still curious of how that nets out. And then lastly, there was an article, I'm sure you've seen it and are aware, but there was an article related to the county partnering with school districts to use the land for parks and things like that. So I know that as we proceed and move forward, you, I believe, are open to discussion on what the future states of the property are and whatever you do. But as you are now, I believe, open to hearing ideas, I would encourage you to maybe consider looking into that or looking at it as a possible portion of it for Kego. And I'm just speaking personally as myself as a citizen and not related to anything else, but I saw someone posted that this week and I thought it was an interesting idea and maybe an avenue to explore as a potential for the city. And that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thanks, Colleen. Any other Liz? Okay, so we'll move on to agenda item number 3, which I feel like we have visitors here for that. Agenda item number 3 is our supervisor of student support services approval, Mr. Eric Whitney, Deputy Soup of Talent Development and Management, will address the board.
All right, thank you very much. We are very excited. So, board, thank you very much for having me. This is the best part of your night, I'm sure. The position of supervisor of student support services in special education, as you know, has been vacant since November. During that time, we've been conducting a thorough search, like we do. It included several rounds of interviews, a search committee that conducted those. We had on-site meetings with students, special education department staff, parents. Did I already say students? Yes. And I really think if you ask the candidates, they'll tell you it was pretty grueling. We learned a lot, but hopefully they learned a lot about us as well. After that whole process, I am very pleased to recommend Diana Shubnell. I don't do the whole name right, but I did ask. Usually she introduces herself as Diana Shubnell for the position. So Diana, raise your hand so they know who you are.
Diana.
Diana.
Diana, all right, I used a typo then. Okay, thank you.
Sorry. So I want to tell you a little bit about Diana and her background and why we're so excited about her. You should know that she is a very accomplished educator, having served in the Southfield Public Schools for more than, I think, 29 years. I wrote 28. In a whole variety of roles. She's been a general education teacher, think kindergarten, If you can do that, you can do anything, right? Special education teacher, she's been a teacher consultant, and she was an interim supervisor of special education. She specializes in IDEA and Section 504 compliance, and she has proven abilities in managing individual education programs, IEP development, conducting audits, and ensuring procedural safeguards. During the interview process, we learned a lot about Diana's skills in staff training, collaboration, and addressing compliance issues through proactive monitoring and corrective action planning. Diana wears many hats, I think it's safe to say, in her current role, such as delivering professional development, coordinating meetings, collecting and analyzing data, providing direct instruction, coaching, and collaborating with teachers. She also participates in district curriculum development. Diana also serves regularly on countywide and state level committees. She has a lot of experience at that level. In addition to her teaching certificate with endorsements in K-5 all subjects and cognitive impairment, Diana has her K-12 administrative certificate, her supervisor of special education approval, and an endorsement in educational technology. We are excited to add Diana's expertise in special education, her dedication to advocating for students with disabilities, and her commitment to fostering equitable learning environments to the West Bloomfield School District team. So with that, I present Diana Chabot.
Okay, so first things first, I need a motion from a board member. Who has a hand up first? Judy.
I move to approve the hiring of Diane Chabot as Supervisor of Student Support Services effective January 26, 2026, per the terms and conditions of the enclosed employment contract per enclosure 3.
Do I have a second? Dr. Hirsch. The motion to approve the hiring of Diana Chabot, I'll get that right, as Supervisor of Student Support Services effective January 26, 2026, per enclosure 3 has been moved and seconded. Any additional questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. And welcome to Diana.
Do you have your speech ready? Okay. So Diana, I have something I want to present you from on behalf of the district. And Diana, I know you brought some very special people, so I thought you might want to introduce.
Yes. I want to say thank you to everybody, and thank you to that interview committee, because it was a wonderful experience to reflect on, and I just feel so grateful and so honored to become a part of this community. And I am going to have the boots on the ground running. Jessica, I'm ready. So I'd like to introduce my husband, John. Tyler, my younger son, Tyler, is actually a senior, so he's graduating this year. My older son, Bailey.
Thank you guys for having us.
And I have two special guests. She's a colleague, my coworker, Sarah Seligson, and her husband, David Seligson. That was just so kind of them to come out and support me. So it really means a whole lot, and really am looking forward to this new journey with all of you and becoming part of this community.
Well,
Well,
we're thrilled to welcome
Thank
you. And have you seen our transition center?
Thank you. Not yet.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Yes, we can't wait to hear what you think.
Yes, I am very excited. So, as Eric said, I wear a lot of hats. I've been in my district for 29 years, so I'm just so excited to see the amazing things that you guys have here to offer. And I will just state, the middle school was breathtaking. It really was. To be able to go in that building was just phenomenal. Now to be a part
Two
of
more
this. It's
coming
exciting.
Wait till you go to Chico.
Yes. I bet. So I am excited to get the tour.
Well, thank you. And
So thank
welcome
you.
everybody to our
Thank you
guest
again.
center.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored.
Don't feel like you
I-
have to stay
okay,
the
I'm
rest
thank
of
you
the
for saying
evening.
that.
Please.
I told her that, but she's
Well,
very
that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Tyler.
I am really excited.
Welcome.
Very good.
Thank you.
I used to teach there myself.
He is going to be playing baseball at Grand Valley State University. They asked, are you going into education?
Oh,
What is your?
no, I want to become a dentist, so.
Oh.
You're in. You said the right thing.
You're not a dentist.
but you have to go on.
Maybe he's not practicing
When you say it to North Dakota, they say you're
Kirsten, he's not practicing it.
That's fair, that's so fair.
What?
He's not practicing.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he has someone to deal with.
Okay, then. Alright, we're gonna go to agenda item number 4, discuss budget to action. Oh, there you go.
Nancy's in the cool room back there.
Executive session.
I'm not, no.
Alright, just push back, push back level.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, that's much better.
Sorry.
Sorry. You left them hanging, so you can- you left them hanging there.
Oh, you left him hanging.
Sorry.
Okay. So now we have Ms. Nancy Seaver, Executive Director of Financial Services. Exciting.
He's a good kid.
Okay.
I thought I was almost impressed.
So, if it's not up publicly, it will be at the end of the meeting. This is up. Oh, it's up. Okay.
Okay, this is the budget to actual for December, 2025. In the revenue area, we have a couple variances, both are basically related to similar things. The first, the federal revenue. In the current year, we've actually received one of our first reimbursements for IDA flow-through. In the prior year, that was not approved, so we could not start getting reimbursements until January. So that's the difference there. And then in the inter-district line, P18 last year, the second quarterly payment was recorded in January last year, and then this year we were able to get it recorded in December. So that's showing you the variance there. Under adult ed, our section 107 allocation has gone down this year. So at this point, we have spent a little bit higher percentage of our total budget. In instructional staff support, I mentioned this last month. We had a great deal of these expenditures related to a grant that we had that we spent the majority of those funds over the summer. So those have already been spent. And then under general admin, we are just trending less expenditures in that area at this point. And then the final variance we're going to talk about is in other financing uses. Again, I mentioned this last month. This year we have no budgeted transfers to other funds. So the budget itself is lower, and what we're spending is on some leases for copiers, so it's just a monthly payment that will be equal throughout the whole year.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you very much. Agenda item number 5 is our spring 2028 overseas trip proposal review. Mr. Scott Long, Assistant Chief of Learning Services, will address the board, along with our traveling teachers.
Hi, we're back
Welcome
again.
I heard they recruited some people too. That's
Yeah.
the word on the street.
Yes, we are back. So we are submitting a spring break trip again to 2028. We would cover spring break again for Venice, the Alps, and Paris. So I'm Bridget Polinsky, Margaret Squires. Our goal is to kind of continue on recommending trips for students. We believe we've got growth mindset, global perspective, personal development, action, and impact. We have the standards on the board. They're similar from the last time we were here, which wasn't that long ago. But as art teachers, we meet art standards as well as social studies, English, and all that jazz.
So we are traveling, as you can see, we're gonna fly into Milan, then travel to Venice, then we will go to the Lucerne region and up to Paris, and then fly back home. And this is a pretty quick trip with a lot of stops.
A lot of stops. So the first couple days we will be in Venice. This trip we chose because it's got a lot of activities for the kids as well. So some of the highlights, besides the sightseeing, would be a glass blowing demonstration, and then traveling by water. And then we also are gonna travel, via a cruise, across Lake Como, which I also really wanna go to. I think the kids will enjoy that, and explore, the Bellagio area as well. So that's our kind of Italy little tidbit there.
And we'll be in the Alps, and we will check out the Lion Monument, I don't know what that is.
We're gonna
And
find out.
something I can't pronounce, and Lake Lucerne, and we will be taking a
Fondue
ride to
party.
the top of a Swiss mountain
Yeah.
and enjoy fondue.
Swiss fondue party, yes.
And
We heard
then-
that's very popular with the kids.
Traveling to Bern
Mhm.
and board a train to Paris.
Yes, and then the rest of the trip will be in Paris. We have been told Paris is very popular with the students. So like with Japan, when we were last year, we're trying to pick places that are, very intriguing to the kids. So we will be spending 3 days in Paris. All the main, highlights, as you guys can see, I won't read them all off, but the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, and then as art teachers, we're really excited about going to the Louvre. So, and then departing home.
All right, so, like we showed before, travelers say the tour expands their knowledge of the world, they felt the tour helped them grow as a person, and they felt inspired by traveling.
And we've been partnering with EF for way before I became a teacher here, so we love EF. They've got 6 years of experience, they include everything, they've got on the ground support in all their countries, and they really are the experts in, traveling with students. So they cover, they've got protections for medical and all kinds of things that might pop up. They also include everything in the price, like last time. I don't wanna go over everything because I know we got a lot going on tonight, but everything is included in the price, including tickets to all of those activities. This trip specifically does have a lot of activities, so this is all including in that, airfare, hotel, the tour guide, all the hotel, breakfast and dinners, and any other potential emergency assistance if needed.
So they can book with confidence because we include that global travel protection. And then if they want an additional protection to be able to cancel at the last minute and get their money back, they can expend that at their own decision. The total cost of the trip is $45.99, but you'll see later in the slideshow that because we are 2 years out,
Yes.
we have a lot of time for them to build their payments, so.
Yes.
yeah.
But we're gonna just.
And then don't forget, we also have that 7-day window where they can cancel, and it's like, no worries, they can get everything back. Okay.
So since we've taken over as the travel team, is that what
Travel
you call
team.
it? The travel team.
The spring break travel team.
The travel squad, I like that.
The travel squad, yeah.
We have been doing bagel fundraisers, so we're doing one tomorrow actually.
Yeah, you should come, buy a
You
bagel,
guys should come, yeah,
$2.
$2 a bagel.
We don't change 20s though, you
Yeah.
gotta bring singles,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, so we're doing those, and then we've done Chipotle, as well. And then students are also able to, save on their own with an included fundraising page that kind of goes into it as well. And we could potentially do candy sales as well.
And of course, there's the Global Citizen Scholarship,
Mhm.
which they can apply to, and we are encouraging them to do that.
Yes.
All right, so,
Okay, so this is, and then as before, you can potentially earn,
oh, he moved past that.
yeah.
I'm back to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can potentially earn college, credit,
Students would pay for that,
they
but,
would pay for it, but they still do with potentially.
and we
Yeah.
discussed before that it's less expensive than OCC for
Sure.
them to do that college credit,
Yes.
so it's really affordable.
Yeah, okay. So, as we said, because we were trying to get far ahead here, the bi-weekly cost would be $86. Monthly cost would be $172. That would be for us running our trip meeting after, if this is approved, after we return from our spring break trip in March.
Yes.
So, these numbers would be based off of, April and going forward. So, this is, as we talked last time, these prices are high, but 3 countries, everything's included. We feel like it's a good benefit with all of the activities, on this trip, and the kids have way more time to save. So that's really our goal, is to make sure we are giving students enough time to be saving, fundraising, and all that good stuff.
And, just a side note, the Japan trip now has 32 travelers.
32 travelers. So
32.
they're
That's
very-
those are the largest numbers that I've heard.
Yeah.
And since
They're very
Right?
excited.
We're really,
Pretty
really
awesome.
proud for picking. So hopefully, our,
Wait,
Margaret and Bridget, I do really appreciate bringing this in front of the board 3 spring breaks ahead of time.
Yes,
I know
we're
families
trying.
will appreciate that as well. We have kids that are in middle school that, when this trip runs, will be in high school.
Mhm.
So they have the opportunity to scout it out, and people have time to plan and prepare, which I really appreciate as well. So
And
Yeah.
when
thanks for
we-
being so organized.
Thank you. When
We're
we,
trying.
when we presented Japan, we sent it out, we did e-blast to all the
Yes.
8th grade parents. So this trip, if
Would-
approved,
If approved.
we would send
Seventh.
out to 7th through 10th grade.
Yes.
And so we would be recruiting hard for those
Mhm.
7th graders. And there were families of 7th graders that wanted to go to Japan, but I
it
said,
wasn't-
wait,
yeah, we
there
have
might
to-
be something coming, maybe.
Mhm.
So-
Yeah, so this would now be eligible for them,
So.
so. Are there any questions?
Any other questions?
I asked too. Thank you for sharing, because I was gonna ask if what the interest was for the Japan. Do we have a cap?
So what we learned is, the bus, we can fill a bus up to 35, not including us. So we can still receive 3 more for Japan. So same with this trip, we could go up to that much.
Right. 37. No, we can have 5 more for
Okay.
Japan.
Okay, so we could have 37. And same with, we don't really wanna have 2 buses, cause then we'd potentially be split with another, so we would decide to cap at that point, just for our comfort. Yeah, yes,
So you have 31 right now?
32.
32, yes.
And is there 2 you're the teachers?
We're the leads on it. Every 6 travelers, we gain an additional, staff member to support it.
Right, so
Yeah.
right now we have some staff members
They've
identified. We
already
haven't
been,
talked to
yeah.
them yet because we kind of want to get over the threshold of the 1-year mark. So we just want to give it a minute before we talk to them, but yes, we
So
have
it'd
people
be-
that want to go.
You 2 teachers from the high school, and then you're identifying other teachers from the high
Teachers,
school.
Yes, it's,
And
yeah,
then
yes.
EF has people on site as well that
Yeah.
helps run the entire.
Yes.
Yeah, so with
So
us.
it's 6 to 1.
6 to 1. It's 6 to
Yeah,
1,
6
and
to
it's
1.
travelers. So sometimes we do have several, parents or family members traveling with us as well.
Yes, they can
They
drive.
get background checks and all that. But yes, it's 6 to 1, and then our tour guide is with us the entire time. So they meet us at the airport, and they're with us the whole time.
Perfect.
Sorry, I have one more question. And this one would probably be more for Scott. Scott, do you feel that since we're going to Paris, would our the students taking French be more interested? Do you see that in previous ones?
I don't know if that will have a huge sway on it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that EF offers language immersion tours that are more focused on a language, whereas this tour is more focused on, the cultural aspect and the arts and the environment. So there are specific tours for language that maybe the French department would like to explore.
So I know it includes all transportation.
Mhm.
So, I'm sorry, I can't recall the graphic right now, I guess I could look it up. But, airfare is international airfare and the rest of the transportation is ground, either bus or a train.
On this particular one, was there
There's
weren't
a
any,
train.
there's train and then
And
there's
boat.
also boat.
Train and boat, yes. And we find out the very specific details 90 days, 90 days out. As
Uh,
it gets closer, once we've maintained the exact amount, then we can know the very specifics.
Usually 90
um,
days out, they close the
They
window.
close the
So
window.
the window is set up where it could like shift one day or before or after, just so they can schedule. And then about 30 days out, we'll know exactly the flight that we're taking and we'll know the hotels that we're staying at. But
And complete itinerary as well.
yeah, so, things are a little in flux until then.
Yeah, and then all food except lunch,
Mhm, yes,
which pretty much,
yes,
the breakfast in Europe, you can just,
yeah,
Yeah.
it'll take you through to dinner.
definitely.
And a lot of the meals are really, the adults might not think they are as great as it would be if they were traveling, but the food is really geared towards the kids and kind of, making sure that things appeal to them. So that's
And
good.
the, 3-star hotels type?
I don't know how many stars, but I know that the hotels aren't going to be like city center where they would be,
But they're
really
not
expensive.
hostels either.
No.
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 Each hotel room has its own bathroom and,
Yeah, it's,
it's like 3 to 4 students per for hotel room.
And this itinerary has been done several times before. This is not a new itinerary. EF has ran this.
If the chaperone was shown to be a good chaperone.
You have to come to the meeting and then
Yeah.
make sure you bring that
The
snow day with you.
Yeah. You guys called the snow day right before our Japan informational
doing
trip.
it
It was
dance when she
wonderful.
goes to
Everyone cheered. It was great. It was fun.
I just still wanna thank you guys for being so far ahead. So I just wanna say congratulations. I am so excited about that. And it gives everybody an opportunity, so great job, great job, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
excited for you guys to do it and for the trip coming up, so.
Yeah, we're happy they're so excited about it.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And just so everybody knows, if you didn't have 30, you had 15 people, they would put you with another small group on one big bus.
Right,
So
so
there's no like minimum
Yeah,
really
no,
either.
no.
Just so
Thank you for
everybody for the
mentioning
group
that.
knows.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, we would share with another
Yeah,
school.
which has happened in the past when we've had multiple trips going out. Sometimes they're smaller, but
Yes.
I think the way you guys are doing it is phenomenal. So.
I think the way you're doing it is phenomenal because then you
You're not
don't have to worry
competing with
about
a lot of them,
dynamics,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then you're one school with one bus and it
Yes.
does make the dynamic.
Yeah.
easier.
That's the goal.
That's the goal, and
Yes.
all the staff
It
lined
does.
up, we all get along great. So we're really, really excited, you know, and the kids really excited about Japan, so good pick.
We did have an excellent turnout this year.
Yes, even with the weather, it was a lot of people.
I
I
know.
think it
How
was
many
89. I believe it was 89. People
Wow.
attended, almost 200 had registered, but once again, the weather that day, that was the day Grace called the snow day. So the weather, I think, did play a role.
Maybe the next meeting will be.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and we're hoping that the students that go into Italy and
Yeah.
Greece, that we're gonna get them on camera so we can use them with a promo.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
and
talking
like
about how great the
update, talk
trip
about
was.
it, and then just drum up the things
Testimonials.
for, yeah.
Yeah, we're excited.
Good job.
I just wanted to commend you, some of the feedback I've heard from the communities, like Japan is kind of a very creative, trendy place to go, and it gives our students an Europe, not that I wanna, like, Europe sometimes it's a little bit more accessible than,
Yes.
than Japan, so just the creativity to, you know, have the, you know, confidence to take a group of students all the way, you know, all that distance, you can hear the buzz and the excitement around that trip, so thank you.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Thank you. So we'll bring this to the board meeting at the end of the month.
Okay,
Excellent.
thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
you.
Thank you, have a good night, everybody.
Great night.
Thank you, you too. Agenda item number 6 is our strategic plan quarterly update, and Mr. Scott Long will address the board. I'm sure you have team members too.
I do, yeah, and they'll come up throughout the presentation tonight. So thank you so much for having me this evening to provide a quarterly update for the strategic plan. As the Board of Education knows, since 2022, our team has been singularly focused on our mission, which is to support each student to provide opportunities, experiences, and educational tools for their journey. And over this course of time, the way that we've done that is through our 5 goal areas. As you know, each year we identify priority objectives in each one of those goal areas to relentlessly pursue that mission. And what I am really excited about with our team is it doesn't matter if you're working on personnel or leadership or operations and finance, I could definitively say that everything that we do is for the support of each student's needs. Whether it's an opportunity or experience or physical campus, just to enhance their experience here in the West Bloomfield School District. So tonight, you'll hear about academics and programming from myself and Dr. Jessica Cohen. You'll hear about personnel and leadership and the work that we're doing there from Mr. Eric Whitney. Sonia James will talk about learning environments and culture and what we're doing in that goal area. Andrea Frank will talk about communications and community involvement. And then lastly, Jamie Stoudemire will talk about operations throughout the district. And I want to kick things off by talking about academics and programming. At the end of the day, when it comes to our strategic plan, board-approved goal statement, it's really about providing meaning and rigor and engaging opportunities in the classroom. And you'll look at the 4 objectives that are on the screen. All 4 are inherently related to Tier 1 instruction and what we're implementing at a classroom level. With the idea that we increase the engagement, that we increase the rigor, and make sure that kids have access to really high quality Tier 1 instruction, along with being data driven. And so throughout this portion of the presentation, you're gonna hear how we're attacking those priority objectives, along with a few other things that are related to some systems. So when it comes to like the work that we've been doing since 2022, what we identified when the strategic plan was adopted was a need to really improve at scale across the board, strong tier 1 instruction to raise our achievement scores. And we know that in our organization, we're as good as the strength of our systems. If we don't have good systems, when people come and go, everything falls apart. And so we've been very diligent in building strong systems that focus on how we hold ourselves accountable, how we hold our students and our teachers accountable to deliver high quality, evidence-based tier 1 instruction. What we've done more than ever this year is really worked collectively with teams of people. Our Department of Learning Services has collectively worked with building administrators, teacher leaders, and literacy coaches to make sure that curricular resources and instructional practices are tightly aligned. And that's not an easy job to get everybody rowing in the same direction, but we know that when we're all rowing in the same direction, the fidelity and the quality of what we're doing at a scale level is much more meaningful. One of my favorite things that we've done differently this year when it comes to systems, you all know I talk about it almost every time I'm up here. Every quarter we do learning environment observations where we just pop into classrooms to get 20-minute snapshots of instruction. We have a tool that we use to score. We step out, we calibrate and score it. We've done that for the last 3 years, and we have really great data of instructional practices. They inform us of how to support teachers and what we're doing well. But what we've done this year to connect the system to like the ground level, as soon as we're done scoring, we actually send a teacher into the classroom to lead the class, and we pull that teacher out, and we give them face-to-face feedback on the spot, which has been phenomenal because teachers, oftentimes they can go a day, a week, sometimes even a month without hearing from a leader in the district about how they're doing. And for us to be able to do that on a consistent basis shows that we value the work that they do, and it also gives them some meaningful feedback of how to get better. And when we're implementing something new, we don't expect everyone to be perfect the first time they do it, but we do expect them to have a growth mindset and get better each time. We've also added very specific content area walkthroughs. So in EL education, as we're implementing that resource, in secondary reveal math, we have walkthroughs that have specific look-fors based on where we're at with implementing that have been very effective. And we're doing the same thing in our pilot for secondary ELA. So I'm excited to say that we've built those systems out. We've included our administrators, our coaches, and our teacher leaders, and we're all part of that growth process. In addition to systems, we have a strong student support services team that is focused on data-driven instruction, and Dr. Cohen is going to talk a little bit about some of the inclusion education practices that we have in the district.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. First, we've increased our access, as you heard at a prior board meeting, to our general education specials and curricular content. All of our special education classrooms are going to our specials by our highly qualified staff, which has been amazing. We've increased inclusion at the preschool level as well. So our continuum mirrors what we have in K-12. So there's a continuum of support that meets individual needs. We've also dedicated ancillary support to preschool. So the preschool has a social worker, school psychologist, speech pathologist, just like we do in our elementary schools. And we've put structures in place to promote increased collaboration between general education and special education providers. So again, it's really creating those strong, consistent systems. So we have MTSS at the K-12 level. So we've implemented that now at the preschool level as well, with our special education providers acting as partners for the gen ed preschool teachers. Curriculum alignment, like Scott said, the tier 1 is just so important. And we often say students are general education students first. And I tell my special ed teachers, you're a general education teacher first. So you have to know all of the general education curriculum, which is a big task. But we've worked strategically and intentionally to make sure that they have access to all of the curriculum, provided training by our wonderful curriculum leaders in the district. And that really has made a difference as far as access. When we think about least restrictive, that's a way to provide least restrictive education for students, is bringing that general education content into the special education classroom when appropriate. And lastly, we have partnered with Oakland Schools for our Universal Design for Learning cohort. And this is really a general education initiative and partnership. UDL is really making additional access points into the curriculum for our students. So it's a low floor, high ceiling, meeting the needs of all students, planning ahead for differentiation. We have learning days and lab days. We have another one next week. And those teacher labs are very powerful. For teachers to go in and see other teachers teaching, implementing those strategies has really helped change some practices at the middle school. We're doing this at the middle school this year and hope to expand next year.
Thank you. And so when we think about those priority objectives that I introduced at the very beginning, and we talked about systems that we're doing at a very high level, there's been lots of steps that we've taken to make sure that what we did last year with our pilot with EL education, we're scaling it so that we're not just seeing it in 8 to 10 classrooms, but we're seeing it from classroom to classroom. What's been really cool to me, like if you think about last week when we were at Gretschko Elementary, you could walk into 4 different EL classrooms and you're seeing the same protocols. You're seeing 2 different second grade teachers down the hall from each other on almost the exact same lesson. And so we're getting closer and closer to a guaranteed and viable curriculum. And it hasn't happened by accident. One major thing that we've done throughout this year, and even from last year, is sustained focused professional learning, whether it's our late starts or our asynchronous professional learning. When teachers are out of the classroom doing professional learning, it's focused effort to getting better at their knowledge and implementation of EL. It's not, oh, where's the shiny squirrel, let's chase after it. There's a laser-like focus there. The other thing has been job-embedded coaching. So we are lucky enough to have the support from an EL education consultant named Wendy. She's been in the district 8 different times this year, coaching our coaches and our principals and our team to make sure that we're getting the most out of the program. Our literacy coaches are on site coaching teachers throughout the year as well, and so are our administrators. So that job embedded coaching, as teachers are in the classroom working, getting that feedback, has been very helpful. And it's been so effective that we have districts coming to us to see what we're doing with evidence-based science of reading practice. Bloomfield Hills has come to us. Clarkston's coming to us. We're becoming a flagship because we're on the cutting edge of things. Family and homeschool connections, I think we've improved significantly. At the start of this year, we knew it was going to be important to connect with families and help them understand the program. We had a family webinar that had over 120 attendees where we talked about what to expect with the EL education program. That was a big hit. We took that and extended to provide some of the resources that families can use at home on our district website, whether it's the decodables that kids read at home. We showed families how to find it on their phone so they can show their kids, and all the important things that kids need to learn. And lastly, the support of Oakland Schools has been huge for us. The Cultivating Continuous Improvement series, we continue to engage and participate in that. And all of these things have helped us in advancing our implementation of EL, which we anticipate to see advanced literacy outcomes for our students. These are 2 things that are not part of our priority objectives, but I share them just to point out the importance of systems. Because we have good systems in place, even though something is not a priority objective, the work is still happening. So at the elementary level, we're piloting the updated Bridges curriculum to see how that's going to work out in the future for our kids. In the ELD world, our newcomers are in their first year of implementation of new resources. So this work continues to happen on top of those focused priority objectives. In the middle school, we're in year 2 of implementing social studies TCI at the middle school level, and you can see the engagement, these really cool magnifying glasses that the teachers are using to kind of dial in on maps. The giant maps, if you walk to the hallways in middle school, these big giant maps that kids are learning geography, all aligned with our resource and all designed to engage our students. And at the high school level, redesigning the sequencing for our high school social studies so that it's aligned and appropriate in terms of where kids are at developmentally has been huge. And even bigger has been our secondary math implementation. This is year 1 of implementing Reveal and Alex. Similar to what we've been doing in EL, there's been a focused effort to make sure that teachers have the support that they need. Professional learning outside of the day, job embedded coaching. We've actually taken middle school teachers over to the elementary to see how they can differentiate and use small group instruction with their model. That's been a huge hit, and we're continuing to be responsive to their needs so that they can implement the curriculum with fidelity. My also favorite thing is with the implementation of Reveal Math has come consistent procedures and policies. Whether it's the retake policy at the West Bloomfield Middle School math classes, where in every classroom you have the opportunity to retake an exam, or the use of how our workbooks are implemented and used in the classroom is all very consistent. Where 2 to 3 years ago, spotty at best, it all depended on which teacher that you ended up with. Our secondary ELA pilot, we are close to making a decision of what ELA resource we're going to use. That has not been an easy task. Piloting 3 different resources, 6 through 12, with multiple teachers and lots of opinions, but we're doing it with a very data-driven approach. We're collecting artifacts. We have teacher survey data, student survey data, NWA assessment data that we're collecting, and classroom observation data. All of that will help us make an informed decision that's for the best of our students. And next, we're gonna move to culture and learning environment. Sonia James is gonna talk about our objectives and our goal statement and some of the work that's happened there. I do wanna highlight before Sonia comes up, I know one of the things that we can't wait to see, and we're gonna be able to show the board in February, is how this is impacting our student achievement. So when our NWA winter window closes, in February, we'll be able to give you a fully detailed presentation on student achievement data in reading and in math.
All right. When we talk about systems and continuing to see how our students are improving, when we look at culture and learning environment, our goal statement, WBSD will provide a positive, safe, and inclusive environment where all students' diverse learning needs are met. Objective 1, provide equitable and engaging instruction and experiences so that each student demonstrates personal and academic growth. Objective 2, implement Capturing Kids' Hearts and Ruler to foster safe, supportive, and engaging learning environments for each student. And Objective 3, strengthen the design and delivery of advisory to ensure each student receives targeted support and meaningful connection. What does that look like here in WB? And at the elementary level, Capturing Kids' Hearts, all principals are continuing to attend monthly CKH huddles where they are learning specific, there's targeted things that each building is doing as it relates to the huddle. They're sharing information, learning information about how to strengthen our Capturing Kids' Hearts program. And Joe Pellerito comes to the district, how often is that?
He comes twice a year.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
It seems like more.
I know,
But
well, he's such a vivacious personality.
Exactly, right, so when he's here, he's helping us to, what's our next targeted steps with Capturing Kids' Hearts? We've been a Capturing Kids' Hearts district for a number of years, and one of our goals right now is to really train our new staff members. As we have had staff retire and so many new hires, it's time to reboot to help our new staff members. While they are getting that information at the school level, we're gonna look at some very targeted training for Capturing Kids' Hearts for our elementaries. And our SDL lessons continue with Ruler throughout classrooms at every elementary. You know that, I don't know if you've seen Danya with her, the mood meter, or if you've been in meetings or go to classrooms, you see those mood meters, just to kind of do a check-in to see where students are. And you know what? It's not just good for our students, it's also good for the adults as well too. Because we need to know the temperature of where our adults are in the room and what supports they may need as well. So the Ruler is still continuing to grow within our elementary buildings. And at the secondary level, we're continuing to strengthen advisory at West Bloomfield High School to support each student's sense of belonging. And that's something that we want not only our students to have, not just a sense of belonging, but to know that they belong. Not only our students, but our staff members as well. You know, in all that we do, we are looking at both our students and our staff as well too. And West Bloomfield Middle School advisory, Tier 1 is our SDL lessons once a week in all classrooms. And then breaking it down, not just our Tier 1, and that's what everyone gets. And then looking at Tier 2, we're going into what are some of the specific needs that some of our students need. Identify students are participating in small groups with counseling or our social work, and looking at that social emotional piece. Again, looking at what every student needs. So when we get to Tier 2, this is very targeted for specific students. And we focus on our personal SEL and or executive functioning. How do we help our students be successful? What is it that some of our students need? Specifically, is it organization or is it organizational tools? Is it how do we help our students access the curriculum? What are those targeted interventions
that we need to help each individual student. Not all students need that, but when we get to that tier 2, that's very targeted. And then we look at individual academic skill building. We look at students using IXL and ELA and ALEX and math for personalized skill building. Again, it's very targeted for individual students. And we talk about systems, and we talk about how do we meet every student's needs. It's going from tier 1 to tier 2 and making sure that we have everything that our students are in need of. And then we have enrichment. Students have completed their first design challenge at our middle school. And then capitalizing on time. We have house meetings that are regular throughout our middle school. And those house meetings gives our middle school administration a time to really work individually with our students, going over those routines, expectations, celebrations, all of the things that's gonna help our students to be successful. And lastly, West Bloomfield Middle School Defeat the Label. That's something we used to have years ago that we brought back this year. And it's really that anti-bullying and labels. You know, we're not talking about clothing labels, but the terms in which we name kids, how kids refer to each other, and the impact that our words actually have. So those are very targeted. Jamie Green with Defeat the Label comes in and works with our 7th grade students right now.
So before we go to the next
Yep.
slide, I think you did a wonderful job kind of showing where every kid fits in West Bloomfield Middle School Advisory and the new plan.
Mhm.
These pictures down here show some of the kids that did their design challenge, the ones that qualified for advisory enrichment. We had the chance to judge, so the kids came up with a problem in the lunchroom and had to present
Oh,
a
yeah.
solution to it. So they surveyed staff, they surveyed students, they talked to other staff members, they built these presentations, and the quality of their work in this very short amount of time, 20-minute advisory, they're doing this 3 days a week, the way that they presented to us, they presented better than a lot of adults that are out there. And they took such great pride in the way they compiled all their research. It was super impressive.
It was, and the feedback that they received from the students as
Yeah.
well too. So for middle schoolers to present to their peers and the maturity in the feedback and even the presentations, they came up with some really good solutions to some of the cafeteria
They did.
concerns that they had identified, so yes. And then lastly, creating an environment of belonging. Again, in West Bloomfield, who are we? We want to continue to create a space and a place where everyone not only feels, but they know that they belong here in West Bloomfield. And when we look at that, we've done some work with our administrators and humanists who teach. And that's thinking about, as leaders, how do we continue to make decisions and keeping that humanity on the forefront? How does what we do in terms of our decisions, programs that we implement, day-to-day activities, how do we keep the humanity piece in the forefront in terms of not only our students, but our teaching staff as well? How do we continue to help everyone feel valued, seen, and heard? Light Up the Learning Brain, that was a group that we worked with some teachers over the summer, and it talks about the neuroscience of our brain and how do we continue to light up the learning brain for all of our students. And Naomi Schwartz, who is a school social worker at Doherty Elementary, led that work with some of the teachers over the summer and is continuing to work with our behavior task force and as well as teachers in terms of how do we continue to truly, with research-based thoughts behind us and research behind us, continue to engage at a high level our students. And then, lastly, just looking at all of the approaches, what we're doing with our leaders, what we're doing with our teachers, and lifting our student voices. We've talked about this before, but having our students present at the JEDI Summit this past fall, and they are also in the process of working on presentations for the Youth Summit in the spring as well, but how, as we look at the adults, the leaders, the teachers, and our students, and making sure that all voices are heard, that there's a platform for everyone, and that we are continuing just to elevate everyone in West Bloomfield in the manner in which we see that they need to be. And again, just making sure that belonging is not an add-on, it's a foundational condition for student achievement, well-being, and voices across our district.
And so you talk about like enhancing and growing our people and making them feel a sense of belonging. Eric's gonna talk next about what we're doing at the personnel and leadership level to support our staff to make sure that they have everything they need to be successful.
Thank you. All right, hello again. I'm very sorry about the noise out there.
It's okay.
It's very exciting when you have somebody new. It's only, I don't know. So I
I one
apologize.
person that I know is louder.
Oh, God. So, you think I would learn. So sorry about it. I know it's hard to do your business. I am very excited to talk to you a little bit about our action steps and plans around personnel and leadership. I have a philosophy and a saying that I tell everyone around here, and that is really that in our business, in education, the people are the work. It's the people that are our work, and that's what defines what we do, because we need to make sure that our students have the best, that they deserve that, and we all believe that. So I'm talking to you tonight about 3 things that are part of our people plan, and you'll see that our action steps are really focused on making sure that we are recruiting, that we are developing, and that we are retaining the highest quality people for our students, because they deserve nothing less. So first, tonight I want to talk very quickly about our Leadership Academy. I don't know how much you know about the Leadership Academy, but Johanna and Sonia lead those groups, and they have excellent guest speakers, if I do say so myself. I was the guest speaker tonight. And the Leadership Academy is really, really important. If you ever study or think about retention in a school district, one of the main reasons that people stay in the organization where they are working is when they can see a future for themselves. When they can look down the road and say, these are things that I could develop into, these are things that I could do. The research finds that when employees see how they can advance, employees report higher engagement and lower intentions to leave. Employees, they want to know that they can move forward, and not just that advancement exists, but how it can work for them. And that is what our Leadership Academy is about. We have this year 27 participants involved in that. They are mostly teachers, but not all teachers, I don't think, that are studying leadership. They have training sessions and workshops and guest speakers. They do scenarios. They do all sorts of really hands-on learning. And then they also do participate in job shadowing one-on-one with an administrator in our district. If they, depending on their career needs, they might want to see a principal, they might want to see Danya. We all have, like I have someone who's doing HR next week, and we're really excited about that because it creates a pathway for our teachers. So not only does it help us grow the next leaders for our school district, and you're going to see why that's important in just a minute, but also it shows them as a retention strategy how their future can develop. It's something, by the way, that I think we do really well in our district compared to places where I've been and what I've studied. We have a lot of opportunities for leaders. We have curriculum council, and we have PLC leaders, and we have lots of ways that people can lead in our district. So I'm very excited about that. The second thing I want to tell you about, like you've never heard about it, the Employee Hub has been a really, really huge and very important project for us, and one of our action steps. It is, we started working on the Employee Hub for the first time in December of 2024. So we've been working behind the scenes for over a year to really bring this to fruition. And it's really, you've heard a lot about it. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but it's really transformed our systems and the way we operate in HR. And importantly, as it relates to this topic, it has really changed the employee experience when they're dealing with routine HR things. From onboarding as a brand new employee to just doing routine tasks like applying for TEP funds. And it is streamlined, it is paperless. I am a little bit insistent that people use this system. If they send us a paper TEP application, guess what? It goes back nicely. And we help them do it online. So we're getting really good feedback. People seem to like it. We have things that we're working out, still here and there, but that's pretty much, I think, to be expected for any new launch like that. At this point, the system is fully operational, all the components. We chose to implement it piece by piece in stages. We started planning in December 24. We started launching the first components in May of 25. So that involved our onboarding process and following short after that, issuing contracts. And so now we are rocking and rolling. Everything that we want in there is up and running. The last thing we finished with is uploading all of our historical personnel files. They're in there now. Nobody has access to them, so you don't go look for yours. I haven't given you access because we're just fine tuning and making sure things are shipshape, but it's done. So we're really happy about that. The final thing I want to talk about is really the one I'm most excited to share with you tonight is I want to report to you a little bit on our first round of stay interviews. So everybody knows about exit interviews, I think, right? When you leave a place, HR meets with you and does an exit interview. We issue an exit survey, and as part of that survey, the employee can ask for a face-to-face interview if they would rather have that. They can do the survey and the face-to-face. They can do the face-to-face instead of the survey, or they can do just the survey. They can really choose where they're at. The problem with exit interviews, I personally find, is that sometimes it's difficult to glean really good information from those or assess that someone's just not happy, right? That they were disgruntled with their experience. And so I find it a little more challenging to learn from those versus what we call a stay interview. A stay interview is about surveying your staff that works here about why they stay. Now, what's important about that, stay interviews are generally, in my opinion, more effective because they really allow us to be proactive and prevent turnover rather than respond to it after it happens. You can fix problems while we still have leverage. We work with you. I think stay interviews yield more actionable insight. Like we learn from them and we can do things. Meaning we can do more of what people like and why they stay, do that more, and also look at eliminating things that are barriers to them stay or that might cause them to be, think about leaving. So I think it's a really strong return on investments strategy. And while we'll keep doing exit interviews, I think it's a stronger way for us to gauge our culture, connect with our employees, and make sure we understand the reasons why they love being here, because we have a lot of employees that do. So our first round of stay interviews happened. We surveyed 46 employees. They're long and they take a little bit of time. We did 46 employees, and I asked every administrator in the district to participate. So everyone got an assignment, from Danya down to everybody in TMU. Everybody had an assignment of employees that they had to do. Because I wanted also our principals, for example, our department leaders, to also understand what employees are saying about why they stay. I wanted them to feel that firsthand. So everybody did it. We did 46 interviews. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the reasons why people stay. So are you ready? We're not going to go in great depth. I'm going to just give you the big picture. Oh, we're up. Okay, so the number one reason why people stay in West Bloomfield is people, relationships, and workplace culture, 37%. They like who they work with, and they like how it feels to be here. Those 46 interviews, by the way, were random. So they were just, I had a full list of our employees, and I chose every 10th person, or whatever it was, and that's how we selected them. Regardless of their role, regardless of how many years they've been here, what level, didn't matter. We went totally everything. The second reason why people stay is the students and their purpose and their mission. People stay because the work aligns with what they value and their sense of purpose. So that was 30%. The third top reason why people stay is leadership and administrative support. People stay when they feel supported and heard and respected by the leaders they work for. And that was 23%. Honorable mention, I like to put out there because they weren't as high as those top three, but honorable mention were professional growth opportunities, compensation, and stability. So knowing this information allows us to keep working on those things that keep our employees, that attract them, and want them to be here. So I thought that was really interesting information, really helpful, and far more than we learned really from our exit interviews, to be honest with you. So I always say, so what? Who cares, right? Like, so what? So what I say is, I think that retention, the conclusion is that it's primarily driven by culture, relationships, and leadership, not just compensation. I know anybody who works in bargaining, it feels like it's all about compensation because we talk about it a lot and it's a main focus of that process. And you start to think they're all about the compensation. But when you talk to them, you really learn, yes, I think that's important, but there are some other things that really matter to people. I think the so what is that some of the strongest retention leverage that we have and those levers that we can pull are really within our control. If you look at those things, those are things that we can control. And I'm glad about that because it's not a great feeling to see things that you have no control over, right? Like you're like, I want this to get better, I can't do anything about it. So we're learning through our state interviews that we have some levers that we can continue to develop that will allow our people to be here. I think that it reminds me that building great leaders, hiring great leaders like Diana, and building our leadership of our principals and our department heads is a really strong retention strategy. That is a retention strategy. Not only do we need great leaders to run our buildings, but we need great leadership to retain employees, and it's a really important issue. I think culture erosion, like if we see things starting to decline, I think that is a leading indicator for us of turnover might be about to come. And then I think we also know that one-size retention strategies will fail. So the bottom line for me is that employees are telling us they stay because of how they're led and how it feels to work here. And I don't believe that retention is just an HR issue under personnel and leadership. I think it's a culture and leadership issue. So I feel very good about those interviews. We're going to keep doing at least one cycle a year, hopefully a little more. They're very time consuming, worth it, but that's kind of where we are on 3 of our big projects that speak to our goals.
Awesome job. And equally important to how we support our personnel and leadership is how we engage with our community and how we communicate with them. So Andrea's gonna come up and share updates on the priority objectives in this area.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members and community members. My name is Andrea Frank, and I'll be talking about our communications and community engagement update. Basically with the communications, internal and external, I like to just focus tonight on the external, but of course internally, working with all of our departments, like Eric mentioned, with the release of the hub, that's something I was supporting. But for external, you see a lot. I am the face behind all of our social media channels. And I'd like to just share that overall, our growth has increased since I've been in this role through August through December. Through Facebook, we've increased by 339 followers overall, and Instagram, we've increased by 316 followers overall. So with some of the communication targeted campaigns upcoming, we have the kindergarten parent info night and of course School of Choice, which opens tomorrow. And then we're also working with traditional methods like print and then expanding on digital and on social as well. Through community engagement, just having a pulse on all of these programs, all of these community organizations. If it's not myself that's being represented, it's Sonia James with Rotary, or other folks in this room that are serving on those boards. For the Laker experience, we're doing things like walking the hall, focusing on getting those unique and authentic interactions with students, and then also being able to be in the classroom and showing our parents what we're doing, that things that they can't see. And then for partnerships, really trying to strengthen just education overall with what our Education Foundation does. We work really hard every month. We're going to be launching a new website soon. There's been a shift in some members on that board. A lot of the older members have kind of seasoned, they're sunsetting out. So working with our local businesses and making sure that they know what we're doing through the Ed Foundation to support our students and our teachers.
Outstanding. And we also have some big things coming down the pipe with operations. Just a few big things that are being, sprouting up on different roads, right? James is
Yes.
going to share that out and close out the presentation.
So our biggest objective, obviously, is to complete our new Chico Elementary School, which is a monumental task, as you can imagine. We've been planning that for 2 years, meetings weekly. Just as an example, as a little example, I always tell people, like, try renovating your house and going to Home Depot and trying to figure out what color paint you want, and you look at 10,000 options, and then do you want satin, do you want semi-gloss? Now imagine having to make every single selection for a massive building. It's a large undertaking. There's a lot of coordination that has to happen with our teams. Just as an example, the board approved the Epic PA system, I think it was last month. We had to have a 2-hour meeting on the interface that is going into each of the classrooms that the teacher will interact with. We had to pick the icons for it and the colors and how that ties into the PA and how that ties into the emergency systems and all that. So all that has to come together so that this building is done in June. And we want it on budget also. So those are 2 very big, important goals for us. A couple months ago, we approved the playground equipment. We just got a confirmation that that's shipping out at the first week in March, so that'll be here on time. We approved all the furniture that goes in the building. That will be here. We're actually bringing that in the first week in July. We don't want to bring it in any sooner because, as you can imagine, there are a lot of people doing a lot of work there, and we don't want the furniture to get ruined, so we want the building to be done. So right now, we're still tracking to have that building done in June. It'll be substantially complete. We'll be finishing up punch lists, putting the furniture in there in July. We also have to coordinate the movement of all the teachers from Abbott over to that building, and then we have to simultaneously move Doherty over to Abbott. So that's all in the works, and it's going well. So right now we are on track. We'll talk a little bit more about it next in our bond update, but that was our main objective. The second objective is to look at our transportation department. 2 things that are concerning is that, the costs of transportation continues to go up. I mean, it is for all districts. So we really want to take a look at that and keep that in check. And also, here in this district, we have a lot of traffic issues, as you know. So on-time arrivals were another big target that we looked at for this year. So as far as the efficiency and the cost, what's nice is Durham was actually purchased a year ago by a company called Summit Transportation, so that's their parent company. It's in a different state, Summit's out of state, but they have an efficiency team that agreed to look at all of our transportation data, and we basically fed them all the data with no boundaries. We said, just make this the most efficient transportation department you can. So they used live traffic data, and it came up with an efficiency plan looking at our bell times, our schools, our students. And so anyways, that optimization plan is done. And so our leadership team is gonna meet with them by the end of this month, and then we'll probably be bringing some recommendations forward to the board. But that is one way that we're using, outside organizations to help look at our, a second set of eyes to look at our efficiency of that department. We also looked at on-time arrivals this year. So we did some more strategic route planning. We actually decreased the route times on a few of our runs because we were having some issues getting to the elementary schools on time. So we have improved on that, and I'll knock on wood, we haven't had as many calls this year. I think everybody can vouch for that. And then we're actively using the Zonar system. All of our buses have a GPS on them. And this is a terrible graphic. I wanted it really large, but I didn't have enough space. But as you can see, this is all the buses arriving live at our middle school. And so from that, you can pull up reports where we can see exactly what time that bus is pulling into that site. And so now we're actively looking at those reports. And then, that allows us to make adjustments, but also there's some accountability there. If we have a driver that's not, it's taking too long on a break or whatever, we are seeing that in the reports, and we're actively pursuing that so that we make sure that we're providing the highest level of service that we can. Our last objective was to expand our elementary nutrition education through engaging chef demonstrations and then integration with physical education, health, and the STEAM programs. This is handled a lot through our wellness committee. A lot of it's driven by that. So we did do a wellness update, and a lot of this was covered in that. But as you know, when you saw on Facebook, Chef Jesse has been really active in doing some food demonstrations out there. This past fall, he did the root vegetables, as you saw. So we're going to continue those. Chef Jesse and our food service director, Andrea, they're really actively working on that, and they love doing it. They even did a grilling session for the middle school where they grilled out all the food one day, which was pretty cool. So we really are working to expand our options for students when it comes to nutrition. And then this spring, we are having the farm visits at each of our elementary schools to teach the students about vegetables, animals, farm life, agriculture. So that's pretty exciting. Reinforce the healthy eating messages. I'm sorry, we've actually expanded that, the communications. We have wellness posters out there. We're increasing newsletters. Andrea's doing a great job helping us with that. And we have updated our elementary birthday guidelines. Unfortunately, they can't have treats anymore. No sweet treats like I used to love when I was a kid, but sorry.
Notice how he looks right at me.
I know, well, we like our snacks.
I like my cupcakes.
We like our snacks. And no more snacks. We've worked with the physical education department to integrate a lot of this into their training. We also have done lunchline education at all of the buildings where they teach them how to properly go into and what to select, what they should be looking at, the healthy choices. So that training happened in the fall. And then the last thing is we want to reduce our food waste. We had share carts at the elementary school, so if a student didn't want a component of their lunch, they could put it on the share cart, and then someone that maybe wanted some more food or whatever could go to the share cart and get that. We've expanded that now to the middle school and high school. So all of our schools have the share carts now, and Andrea's actually branded them so they look beautiful and they reduce that food waste and give students more choices and the availability to pick some of those foods that otherwise would be wasted. So that's pretty much it.
So we've definitely been busy for the first half of this year, but more importantly, intentionally focused and driven by the success of our students and what our mission is. Thank you.
Here is the report. Thank you for everybody. Does anyone have any follow-up questions? I know that was a lot. That was
First of all, it was a great presentation. I mean, it was very meaningful and we learned a lot, at least I did. One of the things I found really interesting, Eric, is really important, is your stay interviews. And the majority, 37%, stayed because of the people and the culture. Yet, only 4% were motivated by compensation and stability. I'll bet before you did that, no one would have expected that.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be higher for sure. I mean,
I think that's great though.
it just, I don't, yeah.
Sorry, Julie.
Defeat the label. I know I'm very familiar with what it is and we're reinstituting it. I just want to make sure everybody understands that comes to no cost to the school district.
Correct.
Yes.
That's a great program.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, youth assistance is actually covering the cost for the district. That was a part of some of the discussions in terms of how youth assistance can assist us as a district in those preventive measures ahead of time before we need to utilize youth assistance. So it's those preventive measures that we're taking, but they are covering the cost.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. Well done,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks for your time and attention.
A lot of work.
Appreciate that. It's very comprehensive.
A lot of work.
And I think everybody should feel really good about the stuff that they're accomplishing in the meetings. Agenda item number 7 is our bond and budget update. Mr. Dean Stottlemyre,
Invite the
Executive Director
Tyler
of
Mackey
Facilities and
here.
Operations, Tyler Mackey from OFF, and Dr. Don DeBazzi, who will address the board.
Good evening, everybody. Sue, as far as our bond update, obviously our big star of the show is the new Chico Elementary School. I like to give you a snapshot from our last update. Back in October, Chico was essentially a shell. As you can see, they haven't even finished the preschool steel framing over there. None of the windows were in. They hadn't started the metal siding yet. A lot of the interior stuff was just in the very early stages, and it's moving quickly. You can also see they graded the parking lot area, but they hadn't started any of the paving yet. And here we are today. And as you go by it every day, it changes. It's changing very rapidly. How many people do we have working out there every day now?
There was 85 today.
85 people, so there's a lot of people working on this. This picture actually was taken late last week, and we're already well beyond that. You can see the metal panel siding is moving along. We had a staging area up on the second floor, right where that lull is there, that piece of equipment right above that. That's already been enclosed, and they're getting ready to put the windows in there. The glass is going in the front. You'll see a lot of that's happening. The glass and doors on the north side of the building have already been mostly completed. So they're moving around trying to enclose that envelope. The roofing is pretty much, what do they have left on the roofing? I think that's about done, right?
Yeah, they'll be complete this week. There's a portion of the early childhood.
Yeah, the Area E.
Yep.
They've actually started a lot of the final painting in some of the areas. We talked about color selections before. That's one of the things that has to be done. They're working on fireproofing of the main area and the concourse. So they're moving along very quickly now. The front office, the building is up to temperature, so they have portable heaters in there now with the roof on and the metal panels and the windows. They can bring that building up to temperature. So they've started a lot of the drywall finishes. So this here is basically the front desk. They've worked on drywalling that entire office area and got all the mudding and taping done, and they're getting close to starting to paint that area. So it's moving very rapidly. I believe they're gonna actually start doing the flooring next month, if I'm not mistaken, up in Area A.
Area A is the first area, and February 1st is when we're shooting to begin flooring.
So think about that. They're actually gonna start the flooring. So we're getting close. We're getting close, and it's moving very quickly. The front, right now, they're actively working on the front entry soffit framing. So that's what you see there, all that equipment up high to get that all done. And the building currently is expected to open up and be ready for students in August. And it is right now tracking on budget. So anything you want to add on that?
It'll come together quick. So those 85 tradesmen, it's across 10 trades. But in the coming months, as more of the finished trades come on site.
Our finishes are faster.
Yeah, you'll see 15 trades on site at a time, and Pat's just doing a fantastic job.
Oh, he's doing a great job. And Tyler's doing a great job managing it too. I mean, he's awesome. The lighting projects, right now we're sitting at about 90% complete at Scotch, and Chico Abbott is about 80% complete. And we're getting ready to start Gretschko in early March. So those projects are moving along. If you go into those buildings, you'll notice they have nice, bright LED lighting that's very efficient. So those, once again, knock on wood, we haven't had one phone call. They've been working at nights, and they clean up and it's ready for class the next day. And they usually do about 1 to 2 classrooms a night. And it's been a very smooth process. So we're gonna just continue on with Gretschko, and we're gonna hope for the best. The STEAM CTE project, we already brought that to the board. That project starts this summer. We had a coordination meeting on Thursday to actually meet with all the high school staff, the teachers, the principal, and all that to coordinate all the logistics. We have to, as an example, move all the costumes out of the costume area because that area gets renovated and reconstructed, and then move them all back in before school starts. So that's one of the many things that we have to navigate. Also the kitchen renovation project starts this summer. So that's quite a bit of work you'll see in the main kitchen at the high school. If you remember, we ordered the equipment early, so the equipment's actually in storage, ready to go. This is just the rough ends required to hook up all that new equipment, which is great. We're actually gonna have a dishwasher for the first time ever at the high school. So the cooks are very excited about that. They don't have to hand wash the pots and pans anymore. And then,
It's amazing that we've never had one. When you
yeah.
talk about it, no Hobart.
Yeah, they use 3 compartment sinks all these years, so that'll help the efficiency. So that's one of the things, whenever we do any of these projects, we try to look at every component, and efficiency is one of them, and helping the staff as much as we can, and that's a simple one. The Doherty Elementary project is actually bidding out this month. Tyler's gonna have it out on the street, hopefully sometime next week. TMP is working on some last minute details on their drawings and stuff, so that's coming together. But bids will be due on the 5th of February right now. That may change a little bit, but that's our target right now. And then we are going to bring that to the board. Right now we're scheduled to bring it on the February 23rd board meeting for review, those Doherty bids. And then we're looking to have the study session, we'll change that to a special meeting on March 9th to approve those bids. because obviously that's a big project. It's supposed to start as soon as school lets out, so we wanna make sure we get all our ducks in a row, and Tyler gets all the contractors lined up to start that work. So that's kind of the timing of that. And then when we look at the cost sheets, our master cost tracker, one of the big things that changed, if you remember last month when we approved CTE, it was a little over budget, and we said we were gonna pull that from the district-wide contingency fund. We had a little over $3 million in that. Well, since then, Nancy has updated our available balances in our accounts, because she logs into those systems and updates those balances. We were able to collect our taxes, so as you can see, our sinking fund available balance went way up because we collected our annual sinking fund amount. So when we look at our overall scheme now, we have approximately a district-wide contingency of about $5.4 million. We changed that to contingency / future projects. So after we bid out Doherty, that's our next big project, and we get all those costs together, we'll revisit that number, and then we're gonna map out what those future projects are, so we'll have a plan in place. But we like to be conservative, and we want to make sure we have enough money to finish all these projects. So that's, kind of our backup fund, if you will.
Jamie, if I can just
Yeah.
add, so basically, again, when we did the facility assessment in 2023, prior to the May 2023 bond, the list of projects is what you see on that list. And we're using a combination of sinking fund and bond to be able to complete those projects. So we say district-wide contingency, but it's for future projects as they come along. Because with sinking fund, part of the money that you really should hold is those things that come unexpectedly each year. A boiler burst or a roof leaks or things like this. So again, the money that we have allocated right now shows based on our estimates for each of those projects. Obviously, when things get bid out, we've seen with the market that they don't always come in as estimated, as they were estimated back in 2022, 2023 as we were prepping for the bond. But you can see what the available balances are, and thankful that the sinking fund will continue.
Once again, this is just a high-level snapshot, and we get invoices in every minute, so this changes day to day. But Nancy did pull the account information, and last time we reported the 2023 bond interest was at about $5.2 million, and here you can see we're a little over $6 million, so that continues to grow. And Tyler provides us with cash flow projections that we supply to our investment company, and they are able to maximize our returns on those funds, which is a good thing. And then down at the bottom, you can see we have updated the interest for both the sinking fund and our 2017 bond is included down there, so.
Okay, any questions? Julie?
It's just a clarification, really. Chico Elementary, when we're talking about the construction, it's not just Chico Elementary, we're talking about early education.
Correct, it's all lumped together as one project.
I just think for the sake of the community, we should clarify that building's not just an elementary. That it's actually two sites built into one.
Right. I'll put that on there.
I just think,
And early childhood.
yeah,
center or
when you're
something?
driving by, it looks like a huge elementary school, but it's not just Chico Elementary. I just think we should be more clear on that with our communication.
I'm trying to write notes as best I can.
No, yeah, what?
I almost ripped my finger off once. Okay.
Not at
yeah.
West Bloomfield though.
No. I slipped on ice picking up my daughter and tore my finger off.
And Julie, just what you're saying, nothing here.
Nothing here. Nothing to look at. Nothing to see.
Nothing on site.
Nothing here. One other thing to clarify is like when you see in an article, like they say, oh, the new elementary costs $44 million. They're not including all fees. Like the $59 million includes everything.
Yes.
Like contingency, the architect fee, the site work. So when people publish the number, it's usually what comes in on bid day. Like bids total X dollars, which is substantially less than the $59 million. So when they give you a price per square foot, they're not usually basing it on the all-in cost.
Right, the
It's-
architecture
yes,
fees and everything else.
everything. Like even you, like the renting of, I'm saying things as many, as things as renting of a porta potty that has to be on site. So all the site condition costs, the permitting costs. Heating, when we're
The temporary
required
heat,
to,
yeah.
we're required to spray the ground and have sweepers go through, like we have to pay for all of this that goes into that.
Mhm.
So what OFF does is they give you the all-in number.
Yeah.
This is how much money we have to allocate as we're planning for future projects, so it gets
So as an
inflated.
example, yeah, this 29 million here is based off of all the pay applications, all the AA fees, everything we've paid to date so far. But like that number and this number and this number equal Tyler's sheet that when we first brought those bids to that 59 million, yeah, that ties into that. And we did mention at the last update that the first two projects that we closed out actually came in under budget, so that's that 36,061. We're hoping Chico will be the same. Like we're really striving for that. We're trying to, use the taxpayer money as best we can and get this project done on time.
Thank you.
I do have a question too, and thank you so much for the presentation. So for looking at the sinking fund, I happen to be on a sheet probably, I think one going back from the one that you have up on the screen, the little short one.
We're down.
The first page, the.
Oh, you're talking about this one here.
Yeah. So that one for me, when I look at the sinking fund balance on the sources of revenue, I have available funds about $5.6 million or so. But then as we transport it back to the other sheet, when we look at the totals agree, but we've taken that money now and done what with it? Because I don't see it, it's not on that big sheet, but
Well, it's resting in, like, the district-wide contingency future project, it'll be resting down in this number down here. So basically, that's money that's available for all of our projects, and then this is the total of all of our projects.
Right.
So those two numbers equal each other.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to help you understand, like the 1.6 million on this sheet, you got 1.6 at the bottom, and you have the available funds, so I kinda see that there at
Oh,
the
you're talking
very
about like what
bottom.
tech, where are you seeing?
So in the first column, the 161,366,587, in that first available funds
The
column.
bottom of the first column.
Yeah.
Bottom, oh, yeah, okay, got it.
And so if I go back up to the other sheet, I can clearly see where that 161,366,587 kind of represents itself in that sheet. My question then is, where is and how do you identify the sinking fund in, so one, on the left, on my right-hand side, I see where you clearly indicate sinking fund 5573, and that ties to both this sheet and the one below it. But then when I go back over into the project fund, it kind of gets lost, and I'm trying to figure out.
Well, what we do is, like Danya mentioned, a lot of our sinking fund goes for the day-to-day stuff. If we have a boiler breakdown, HVAC system, that wouldn't be tracked specifically on this, other than the available funds will be shrinking to pay for those.
Right.
Because if we had to track all, this thing would be 25 pages long every month. So what we'll do is when we get to big projects that we bring to the board, we'll put those on here under sinking funds, so you can see what expenditures are going
Right, I
for the
think
big
we're here,
projects.
but let me just go back to that one page again. And cause my question is, it's getting lost for me inside the project fund. Because in the small one, I can see 5573615, but when I go back to the project fund.
It's on the top, but it's not.
553, it's right here.
Yeah.
No, I mean on this page, right? So if I go back to that one page, and so if I can see the
It's right up
sources
here.
of- Right.
Funds are available.
I see that, but when you go to project fund on this very same page, the dollar amount gets lost, and I'm asking you, why and where is it?
Well, it gets rolled into the district-wide contingency future projects. So like I said, day-to-day, we'll be repairing things, replacing carpet, doing things that we wouldn't be tracking on this high-level
Right.
spreadsheet. that will show that 5.5 dropping as we go through the year.
Right, and it's, so I'm saying on this sheet, it's already dropped because there's not a one-to-one match. So I'm just trying to figure out.
Deborah, remember the CTE and STEAM space is slightly over budget. So if
Okay.
we still plan to do all of the bond projects, right, with the CTE space, right, which we felt that this space is gonna be done once in the next, 40, 50 years. So that's why you're gonna see some of those numbers. We'd have to then reduce how much we allocated in the bond towards, let's say, Scotch or Abbott or whatever. So right now it's showing that, but you can see it's almost a net break. I mean, there is a difference, but it's about $160,000. That's, if you see district-wide contingency versus sinking fund, we're at a dip of a little bit.
And that's what I'm just
Yeah.
saying, what is that dip? Why is that?
Yeah, CTE and SHICO, right, are a little
Okay.
bit different than what we allocated in the, as an estimate.
We had
within
estimates
the-
in there,
in the
yeah.
bond application, but, what I think you're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what are some of our future upcoming sinking fund projects?
Mhm.
So we can see how that goes against the budget. Right now, though, based on our facility assessment, our goal is to complete all the projects on this sheet, cause those are basically based on the bond, those are your level 1 and 2, like those are your most immediate needs. So we wanna make sure to accomplish as best we can everything on this, and then future years of sinking fund will allow us to go deeper into other projects. And now, after this year, technology, which will be great to be able to utilize sinking fund for, so, but I hear you, yeah.
I mean, it is.
We'll clarify more too as we
Yeah.
go through it and project, like once Doherty's bid out and some of these things, we actually have actual numbers or projects are complete, it'll become more, the numbers will become more solid.
Like we had mentioned last time, we're looking at sinking fund projects like security bollards at the buildings that don't have them, replacing a lot of the exterior doors. Those projects will start to land on underneath the sinking fund as our big projects that are upcoming. We're still developing those, we're just waiting till the Doherty bids come in so we know where we're at financially.
That makes sense. Kirsten?
Okay, question regarding using sinking fund balance versus bond interest. So you're saying that CT is already over budget, and so we're utilizing money from the sinking fund. Why wouldn't we utilize it from the bond interest?
Well, we are, I mean, if you look at the available funds for sinking fund that are untouched, it's 5.5 million.
Yeah.
So the district-wide contingency is 5.4. That means those are not allocated. So on the left, that includes, it basically is a sum of all the funds we have available between 2017, 2023, and the sinking fund. So that's all available dollars within the district.
I think,
So my question is why would we pick sinking fund balance versus bond interest? Like, how do you pick which bucket you're pulling from?
We're not, it's that those are fully allocated. All the interest is fully allocated.
I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if we really, we use bond money, we don't classify it whether it's interest money or bond money.
No,
It's all in
no,
the same
it's all-
account.
it's
It's projects.
It's projects.
Project money.
So that could be where there might be a little
Yeah.
bit of a confusion. But we like to show how much interest has grown on that, especially because we have to deal with arbitrage. So that's why we track the interest, but when you spend bond money, you don't decipher between interest and bond money.
The
Correct.
147 includes.
Because the interest goes back into, like, for instance, our 2023 bond is the 480 account. It goes back into the 480 account or Business Plus, so nothing gets paid unless it goes through Business Plus, so that all gets tracked in there. This is just a high-level snapshot
No, but-
of what we have available and what we're
Yeah,
planning to
I'm just
spend.
trying to say like how you
Yeah.
guys.
But we do track the sinking fund, and that's what we have
Yeah.
to make sure that we continue to separate,
Yeah.
is the
Yes.
sinking fund and the bond money and how we spend that.
Which I think, tell me if I'm hearing you right, Jamie, when you determine what will be used, besides the small projects for sinking fund, the larger projects, you will itemize it on
Yeah.
this.
It would be
Just like
difficult
the turf is
to
on there.
update update every little new one, cause
I'm
we're
not asking
spending
that.
$50 on this thing to fix it, and
I'm not
it's, our daily
No, but
repairs.
like if
There's a
we,
large
if we
project.
reduce like all the door hardware of all the rusty
Yeah.
doors, that's gonna be where we're gonna have to do a bid.
Yeah.
Right? And that would have, that's gonna be a substantial.
The big projects that we bring to the
Yeah.
board, we'll put up here so we can track them, but this is just a high level of all the projects.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
When you were going over the Chico project without doing their, everything's gonna come together at the end, and you're within budget or under budget, you're doing, and I never really got this till I'm redoing one room in our house. And we're not even doing the outside of the room, just the interior. And we're on 2 months and we're not done yet. And we're over budget. I mean, I commend you, because what you're doing is something I can't comprehend.
Well, thank you.
Good job.
We have a good team, we have a good team.
And it's a lot of the preparation in TMP, working with West Bloomfield to select those finishes. We know what we have to do, we just have to execute, so.
But
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay. And I'll just ask, because it's been asked before, the, abatement and demo project, there's no surprises financially right now? It's
No.
all within the budgeted amount from the latest from September? It's all within under that, okay.
And those costs are in there.
Alright. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we will move on, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks. See you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Number 8 on our agenda is our school board organizational meeting, so I'm going to turn it over to Nick, our nominating chair.
Okay, it was my job to collect all the nominations, ask people if they accepted the nominations, et cetera. So I'm reporting to you the following nominations have been made and accepted so far. Additional nominations have been made, that's not included here because they did not accept the nomination and declined it. And at the end, I'll give you who's been nominated so far, and then nominations are still open. So it's not complete yet. The president is Stacy Brickman. Vice president is myself. Ashley Davis, secretary. Treasurer, Art Holford. So now it's my job to ask, are there any other nominations for any of the offices? I would take that as a no. So I guess no one has to make a 2-minute speech, and I will officially close nominations. Back to you, President.
So in front of you is a, committee interest, and I know I already put it all on board docs for you. The only one, please indicate whether district, oh, thank you, district steering committee, that, as soon as, Danya says that we're gonna start working on the district steering committee, whether it's for the future bond projects or sinking fund projects or Roosevelt, like, put your interest on it now, and then when that happens, we will talk about it as a group. So make sure that you, that would be, like, you understood that about the steering committee. Did you want it back? For steering committee? Or- Okay. I just wanna make sure, cause I said that before the meeting.
No, I did, and no, I'm good.
Okay, so just please make sure that you put the interest, and then when it's that time, I'll know who has the interest. And there might be different ones, I don't know, could have something for,
You hit on a couple just in terms
because
of,
they might be separate,
yes.
separate committees, I don't know what you're thinking for the future, but I don't want you to,
There's
pigeonhole.
probably gonna be 2 coming up. What we really do, the 3 major projects of this bond were Doherty, Chico, CTE. We've settled 2 of the 3. We need to understand where we're at after Doherty. At that point, we're in a good place to say, we're about 3 years from when this bond passed. We still have a significant amount of funds. Let's regroup and make sure that this is where we're still at in terms of the projects. There's certain projects we have to do, in terms of heating, cooling, but just to make sure that this is where the direction was, do we still agree this is the direction? And then yes, future land use and things like this have to be discussed with the committee.
So if everybody can fill that out, if you don't wanna fill it out now, just make sure you get it to me by the 18th. And,
18th, not 19th.
I'm sorry?
18th, not, sorry, it says 19th on here.
19th, what is it? What's the date? Am I off a day?
I don't know, I was
Monday?
19th is next Monday.
That's Monday, alright, so it's me, my dates are off, but by the 19th.
Okay.
That would just be great.
Yeah.
Cause, it's a lot of thought process, because we also wanna grow everybody, in the capacity of each different role, so. And then, just so we're clear, we're gonna have a workshop on Thursday, and I